In the land of Israel, during a dark season of oppression, there lived a man named Manoah and his wife, a woman whose womb had been closed. Year after year, she prayed. Year after year, the silence felt like a wall. But God was listening. Then one day, everything changed. The angel of the Lord appeared to her, not in the temple, not to a priest, but to her, a woman the world had overlooked. And he spoke words that would change history. The angel gave her a sacred charge: no wine, no strong drink, and the child must never cut his hair. He would be a Nazirite, set apart for God from the moment of his birth. This child would not belong to her alone. He would belong to God. Manoah begged God, "Let the man of God come again. Teach us what to do." And God heard him. The angel returned. Manoah wanted to be sure. He wanted to be ready. That's the heart of a man who fears God. When the flame went up from the altar, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame. Manoah and his wife fell on their faces to the ground. They had seen God, and they were never the same. And the woman bore a son and called his name Samson, the impossible child, the answered prayer. The Spirit of God began to move upon him, even as a boy. He was born for something no one fully understood yet. As Samson grew, the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon him. He felt it, that stirring, that burning sense that he was made for something bigger, something dangerous, something holy. When Samson was grown, he went down to Timnah and saw a woman, a Philistine. His heart grabbed hold of something his head should have questioned. But God, even in this, was working out a plan. On his way to Timnah, a young lion roared against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. He tore the lion apart as if it were a young goat, and he had nothing in his hand, no sword, no weapon, just God. Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. Samson had found a riddle in real life, and he was about to use it. At his wedding feast, Samson proposed a riddle to 30 Philistines. "If you can solve it in 7 days, I'll give you 30 garments. But if you can't, you give me 30. They agreed, but they had no idea what they'd agreed to. But the Philistines had no intention of playing fair. They threatened his wife, "Entice your husband, or we will burn you and your father's house with fire." Betrayal was coming, not from an enemy, but from the one who should have been closest. She wept before him for 7 days, nagging, weeping, pressing. And on the 7th day, he told her, because he loved her. And love without wisdom can become a door left open to the enemy. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson. He went to Ashkelon and struck 30 of their men. He paid the wager, but his heart burned. He returned to his father's house, furious, heartbroken, and still chosen. When they burned his wife, Samson caught 300 foxes, lit torches between their tails, and sent them into the Philistine fields. The harvest was gone. The vineyards, ashes, justice, old covenant style. With a fresh jawbone of a donkey, just a bone, Samson slew 1,000 men. 1,000. When God's Spirit is on you, the weapon doesn't matter. The size of the army doesn't matter. What matters is who fights alongside you. But then Samson cried to God, "I'm dying of thirst." And God split the hollow place, and water came out. Even Samson, the mighty one, needed God. Strength without prayer is just muscle. God is the source. For 20 years, Samson judged Israel. 20 years of strength, leadership, and protection. But peace without vigilance is dangerous. And Samson, the giant of Israel, had one vulnerability he never fully guarded: his heart. In Gaza, the Philistines surrounded the city, certain they had him. But Samson rose at midnight, took hold of the city gates, doors and all, and carried them to the top of a hill. They couldn't contain him because God hadn't released him yet. He fell in love again, this time with Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came to her with 1,100 pieces of silver each. Entice him, find out where his great strength lies. The trap was baited, and Samson walked right toward it. 3 times she asked, 3 times he lied, 3 times she called in the Philistines, 3 times he escaped. But here's the terrifying part: he kept going back. When we keep returning to what we know is destroying us, that's not love. That's a warning. He told her all his heart, all of it. A razor has never come upon my head. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me. The secret was out, and Delilah, she knew exactly what to do next. She made him sleep on her knees, and while he slept, she called a man, and he shaved off his 7 locks. 7 by 7. They fell to the floor, and Samson had no idea. When what separates you from God is silently removed, you may not even feel it happening. He woke up and said, "I will shake myself free as before." But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. 4 of the most sorrowful words in the Bible: he did not know. When we drift from God, we don't always feel it until the test comes. They seized him, gouged out his eyes, bound him with bronze fetters, and brought him to Gaza to grind at the mill in the prison, the strongest man who ever lived. Blinded, chained, grinding grain. This is where pride without prayer always leads. But the hair of his head began to grow again after it had been shaved. 8 words. 8 of the most hope-filled words in the Bible. God wasn't done. In your darkest prison, in your most defeated season, something may be quietly growing back. The lords of the Philistines gathered to offer a great sacrifice to their god Dagon. Our God has delivered Samson into our hands. They were celebrating. They were so sure of themselves. But pride always has a ceiling, and this ceiling was about to come down. They brought him out to perform before them, the great Samson, their entertainment. But in the middle of the crowd's laughter, Samson was doing something no one could see. He was praying, and when the broken pray, heaven listens differently. Samson said, "O Lord God, remember me, I pray. Strengthen me just this once, O God." He didn't pray for revenge. He prayed to be remembered. He prayed for one more moment of purpose. And God, one who never forgets his children, heard him. Samson pushed with all his might. The pillars bowed, the temple fell. More Philistines died in that moment than in all of Samson's life before. And Samson, broken, blind, and repentant, accomplished more in one surrendered moment than in 20 years of strength. His brothers came down and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtal in the tomb of his father Manoah. He judged Israel 20 years. He was flawed. He stumbled, but he finished, and God buried him with honor. If this video blessed you, drop a comment below. Tell me which part of Samson's story hit different for you. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. Hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss a story. Because every week we're telling God's story, one life at a time.